If you love comics, today is loaded. We got creators, legends hyping the next big thing, Hellboy art straight off the board, X-Men powers creep up, or X-Men powers have gone wild, Cyclops' family rumors, DC Lanterns pressure test, Asgard's heaviest hitters, superheroes rooted in ancient myth, and Predator's big score, and we'll wrap up with a fresh CovrPrice Daily Shakers report with Silver Age Fire. I'm Bryant, and welcome to Comic Issues Daily. All right, first story we got today is got two titans, Rob Liefeld and John Byrne, are openly geeking out over Dan Mora, and that tells you everything. In Rich Johnson's Bleeding Cool article, we hear how Mora's drawing output is off the charts across books like Batman, Superman, World's Finest, Once and Future, Transformers, and Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. Liefeld calls him so impressive, the best bit in the biz right now, and says he's been grabbing all of Mora's work. And Byrne, who usually expects disappointment when checking out new artists, was greatly impressed, praising the sheer fun of Mora's pages. And Ross Rich goes even further, saying Mora is becoming the most influential comic artist working today, mastering post-Kirby, post-Neil Adams superhero language while interjecting pure energy, characters, acting, and heart. The one bittersweet note for fans, Mora says he'll focus on one book next year, and DC will be his main publisher in 2026, and his Transformers stint will be limited to 6 issues. That sounds like a major DC project is brewing. Either way, the message is clear, and at the height of his power, Mora is prioritizing quality and impact. If Dan Mora can only draw one DC title in 2026, which book do you want him on? And speaking of the modern master of Dan Mora, let's talk about a prestige art book you'll want on your shelves. We got David Brooks from AIPT has an article titled Mignola's Hellboy in Hell Artist Edition. And that's a Skybound and Image. Yep. That Skybound and Image with Scott Dunper's Act 4 Publishing are releasing Mike Mignola's Hellboy in Hell Book 2 Artist Edition on May 25th of 2026. A massive oversized volume that presents the original art as it looked on Mignola's board. You're getting issues 6 through 10, 180 plus pages, covers, rare illustrations, and all the blue pencil lines that you could want, plus brush textures, ink gradations, and whiteout marks intact. This is a deep dive into one of comics' most influential creators, with an intro by Kevin Nolan, Hellboy's logo designer, and an afterword by Steve Perel. It joins a growing line of prestige art editions and Act 4 from Act 4 Skybound. Also, greats like George Perez and Wally. Sorry about that. It's joining a great line of prestigious art editions from Act 4 Skybound alongside greats like George Perez and Wally Wood. If you wanted a printed TED Talk on comic craft, this is it. Are you picking up the Hellboy in Hell Artist Edition? Tell us why Artist Editions rule your shelf. And now, let's talk about why Hulk's world works best with friends. And Justin Eaps over at comicbook.com makes the case in his article, the Hulk supporting cast is way more important than the hero himself, and I can prove it. Epps believes that these Hulk stories level up with the people around him. The Immortal Hulk by Al Ewing and Joe Bennett from 2018 to 2021 took the character back to horror while expanding the lore and cosmic truth of Gamma. We see Betty Ross blending Red She-Hulk and Harpy into Red Harpy. Rick Jones reshaped into a horrifying abomination tool before becoming a pawn of the leader. And Doc Samson returning only to end up in Walter Langosovitz, and becomes Dr. Sasquatch. I just can't say that word right now, or that name right now. And then we got newcomer Jacqueline McGee gaining true sight to spot Gamma mutates, and more importantly, stand up to the Hulk and hold him accountable. The series confronts the emotional damage Bruce leaves behind. not just smashing buildings, but broken relationships. By pulling Bruce's circle into the center, the book proves Hulk shines brightest when his world is fully inhabited. The hero still is still the star, but the supporting cast makes the story unforgettable. So, are you Team Hulk or Solo Hulk? Let me know what you think. Makes the story better. And now let's talk about some X-Men powers that have gone way past 11. Okay, David Harth from comicbook.com has an article titled "The Seven Most Broken X-Men Powers in Marvel Comics" and argues X-Men powers have gone wild. We got Professor X and Jean Grey to the all new, all different era, and we got powers sets that are frankly ridiculous. Hope Summers can copy or link powers to strengthen them and may even keep abilities. And with the Phoenix tier origin, Jean Grey using the Phoenix Force to go back and impregnate her mother. Okay, that's crazy. And then we got Wolverine's healing is now is so extreme that even being reduced to losing all of the meaty bits doesn't keep him down and undercut stakes. And then we got Omega class is showcase drives it home. We got Iceman evolving from a snowman jokester to god tier, creating multiple bodies in living constructs, and he once even froze hell. And then you got Magneto wields electromagnetic energy, a planet at planet crippling levels. And Rogues masters selective power draining and can wield multiple powers at once, taking on threats like and Storm. Exitar and Storm, complete weather control, EM, energy touches, city killing storms, continent drowning rain, and recently took on the power of eternity in an all timer. Okay, I need to work on that writing. My apologies for that. Which X Men power do you think is most broken or most wildly OP, and why? Name your pick. And if mutants are surging in the comics, hopefully we got one mutant leader who might finally get his due on the big screen. And we're talking about Cyclops. Mark Cassidy from comicbookmovie.com reports in about a rumor that Cyclops and the Summers family will be the major focus of the Marvel Studios Mutant Saga. That's Christian Harkoff claims that Cyclops and extended Summers clan could drive Marvel's Mutant Saga, shifting the spotlight away from Wolverine. If Mr. Sinister factors in, elements of Inferno may surface, opening doors to Cable, Rachel Summers, and the Starjammers and the Shi'ara. It should be interesting. And then we got Michael Leslie and Jack Sharia have now started writing on X-Men with a large a reported target of May 5th of 2028. Not too far away, but in movie timeline, but for the fans, that seems like an eternity. We got some Fox era actors likely to reappear in Avengers Doomsday. They have been noted of who they might be. Shiera notes that the learning curve to figure out how to work with these characters is balanced between action versus character. So they'll be able to see how to do things a little bit. If true, Scott Summers and his messy family tree may finally get the big screen depth they deserve. What do you think? Are you looking forward to seeing more focus on Cyclops, or did they do him dirty in the X-Men in the Fox universe? Personally, I think they did him a little dirty. Who's your first wave summer pick? Cable, Havoc, or the Starjammers? And all right, let's go over to DCU now. We got some information about the Lanterns. And sorry about that picture. Probably could have been a little bit better. Jordan Boca from CBR lays it out in an article called "Lanterns Will Determine the Fate of the DCU." And just so you know, all the links to the articles that I sourced this from will be in the description, so you can see the names of who the writers were, because I apologize for butchering them. After the energy of Creature Commandos, Superman, and Peacemaker Season 4, the Lantern series, which is targeted for 2026, follows Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart investigating a murder on Earth, and becomes the first major DCU project not written by James Gunn. With Chris Mundy showrunning and Tom King and Damon Lindelof involved. It's the franchise's first creative test beyond Gunn's pen. If Lanterns miss, the DCU risks contracting to gun-centric tentpoles. If it hits, it proves a broader creative bench that opens the cosmic window for the larger DCU. Gunn ST's Lanterns as foundational to what's next for the big picture setup to how John Stewart fits as a Justice League pillar. Will Lanterns land without Gunn scripting? Predict how and John's reception below in the comments. Let me know. And then we're going from the Green Lantern Corps to the Gods of Asgard. And this is from Jenna Wern from comicbook.com. Reminds us in her article 7 most powerful Asgardians in Marvel Comics who aren't Thor. And Asgard is stacked. First, we got Odin, who channels the Odin Force for reality bending might. And then we got, come on, Heimdall, the all-seeing, all-hearing senses that he has in the Bifrost command make him a strategic nuke. Then we got Lady Sif, is a peerless warrior on the magic side. And then we got Mora, a peerless warrior. On the magic side, we have Mora the Enchantress, who manipulates minds and teleports. You got Loki, who mixes Jotun heritage with world-class sorcery and scheming. And then we got Frigga, who weaves long-lasting protection with foresight and scrying. And then taking the crown is Hela, goddess of death, potentially limitless power, instant killing touch, command over the dead, and near absolute might when linked to Asgard. Plus those conjuring weapons, it's a reminder that Thor's world is full of top-tiered gods. And who's your number one on Asgard? Hela, Odin, or Loki? Let me know. And speaking of gods, some heroes are straight up born from ancient myths. All right, and Jack Picow from comicbook.com has an article called 7 Superheroes Based on Actual Ancient Mythologies from Around the World, which shows how modern heroes actually echo old legends. And then from China, we got Monkey Prince, Marcus Shang-Xin, a clone of Sun Wukong with strength, shape-shifting, flight, regeneration, immortality, and Jingbang. To Marvel's Black Knight Dane Whitman, channeling Arthurian lineage through the Ebony Blade, and myth is everywhere. Modern Moon Knight serves Khonshu, enhanced brain function, resurrection. Hercules keeps his demigod roots in the 12 labors. Wonder Woman ties directly to Themyscira, Greek legacy, and as a daughter of Zeus. Shazam bundles powers from Hercules, Solomon, Zeus, and more. And of course, we got Thor Odin's son, retains his Norse core ally Mjolnir, mountain shattering strikes and storm calling. Which myth to hero adaptation is your favorite? Drop your top pick and let me know. And then we're going to go from mythic heroes to cinematic hunters. How is the Predator Badlands doing in the movies? Let's see. All right. The Predator, Lee Freitag from CBR reports in an article called The Predator Badlands, an Amazon Rotten Tomato score as director teases franchise's future. That is a wordy title right there. The director teases that Predator Badlands opened with the 86% fresh score from Rotten Tomatoes and 51 from reviews. But Trachtenberg's Killer of Killers had a 96. That came in below Trachtenberg's Killers of Killers, which had a 96%, and Prey had a 94%. But way above Predator, the original had a 65%, and the Predators had a 34% score. Critics like Tess Smith say it brings something new and even makes you root for the Utah. Don't know exactly how to say the Predators' race name. And then Jordan Farley praises the pivot to the heroic Deke. Not everyone is sold. Damon Wise misses the unstoppable killing machine, and Barry Hertz calls it an anemic PG-leaning expansion. Trachtenberg already teased a fourth project idea when mapping Beyond Prey, Badland, and Killer of Killers in a third project, all competing for his attention. Doing that third one now would be an absolute thrill. He still wants to make non-Predator films, but this sandbox clearly fuels him. Badlands is hitting theaters in 2 days on Friday, November 7th. And what do you like better, a villain Predator or the heroic Deke? Which do you prefer? And tell us before opening night. And then now let's close with today's CovrPrice Daily Shakers Report. First up, we got Fantastic Four, issue number 1 from Jack Kirby from 1961 in a CGC 5.5, brought in $25,200 in a sale. And then you got Amazing Fantasy 15, also from Jack Kirby from 1962 in a CGC 2.0, sold for $18,600. And then we also got some Silver Age X-Men in X-Men number 1 from 1963 in a CGC 3.0, sold for $5,350. And following that up, we got Amazing Spider-Man issue number 16 from 1964 in a CGC 9.4, came in at $3,840. And next we got Showcase number 22, the first appearance of Hal Jordan as the Green Lantern from 1959 in a CGC 4.0, came in at $3,375. And we're going to follow that up with some DC horror. And we got House of Secrets issue number 92 from Bernie Wrightson from 1971 in a CGC 8.0, came in at $3,175. And then we're going back over to Marvel to the web crawler, Amazing Spider-Man issue number 3 from 1963 in a CGC 5.0, sold for $3,000. And then we're following that up with the Incredible Hulk issue number 181, the first full appearance of Wolverine from 1974 in a CGC 7.0, came in at $2,912. And then we got Top Notch Comics issue number 11 from 1941 in a CGC 7.0, sold for $2,900. And then we got Avengers number 1 from Jack Kirby from 1963 in a CGC 3.5, came in at $2,880. Did any of these sales surprise you today? Do you think they're too high? Do you think they're fair? Or were there a couple of steals out there? Let me know what your thoughts are. And now that's it for the headlines for today. But I do want to shout out that I have my Comic Channel Origins live stream that I do every Sunday night at 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern, where I talk to comic book YouTube content creators about how they have grown their channel from 0 subscribers and 0 views up to where it is today. All the tips, tricks, things things that they've learned to do to help grow their YouTube channel, how to understand the analytics and things like that. And this week I'm going to be interviewing Randy from Swarm of Comics. Looking forward to it. It should be a lot of fun, a lot of energy. So please join us Sunday, 6 p.m. Central, 7 p.m. Eastern. Yes, for a great interview. Please join. Please ask questions. It'll be a great time. Also, wanted to give a shout out to the sponsor of the day's channel, or our channel, Ron's Comic Closet. And if you use code IHAVEISSUES at checkout, you'll get 20% off your first order with Ron. He has new issues, back issues, collectibles, and everything else that you could possibly want. So please check that out. All right. And if today's lineups helps you stay current, hit that like button, hit the subscribe, and ring the bell so you never miss Comic Issues Daily. Share this with your friends who love comics, and drop your takes in the love comics and drop your take in the comments. We read them all. I read them all, and I hope that all of your issues are comics, and we'll see you tomorrow. All right, bye.